Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to the Daily Devotional. We're in the Anchor for My Soul series where we're looking at the promises of God. And today we're going to be talking about waiting on the promises of God. Getting a promise from God is amazing. Walking in the promise of God is incredible, but that waiting season is so hard. And so we're going to talk about that today, looking at the life of Joseph. So Joseph was young, he got a promise, and it took a while for him to walk in it. So we're going to look at a specific moment in Joseph's life. But before we do, I want to give you a little background, and I want you to imagine that you are Joseph and you are walking through these things. And so Joseph, he's a young teenager. He gets a dream, two dreams, in fact, that show that God's going to elevate him into a position of power and authority, a promise from God as a teenager. And then he is immediately sold into slavery by his brothers. Can you imagine if that happened to you? And then he becomes a slave. He's serving in someone's house and doing a great job, put in charge of everything. And then next thing you know, he's falsely accused and he finds himself in prison. I mean, that is a hard life, to be promised something so great from God and then to find yourself in the next moment in prison. But look at Joseph. Look at what he does. We're going to read from Genesis chapter 40, starting in verse 5. It says this: While they were in prison, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker each had a dream one night, and each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph saw them the next morning, watch this, he noticed that they both looked upset. "Why do you look so worried today?" he asked them. Now again, imagine, you've been promised this great thing. It's not coming through. Nothing is happening. You find yourself in prison. And what is Joseph doing? He's caring for people. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I found myself in Joseph's situation, I would have said, nope, I'm not caring about anyone else. This is only about me. I'm looking out for myself. But Joseph is caring about people. And if you know how the story goes, Joseph has this conversation with the cupbearer and the baker. He interprets their dreams. Later on, the cupbearer goes back to Pharaoh, serves in Pharaoh's house. Pharaoh has a dream, and then the cupbearer says, hey, I know a guy in prison. Joseph then goes to Pharaoh's house, interprets that dream, and finally he walks in the promise of God. But notice this, Joseph's ability to serve people and have this one conversation. Notice that these prisoners look distraught and sad. Of course they're distraught and sad. They're prisoners, but Joseph cared so deeply for these people that he noticed, no, this isn't just a normal sadness. This is something different. This one conversation actually catapults him to eventually walking in his promise. So what's that mean for us? During the waiting season, we have to keep caring for people. It's so easy when you're waiting on a promise from God and you're struggling through the trials and tribulations that come from the waiting season. Even when people are doing things to you that feel like holding you back, it's so easy just to look inwardly and say, I'm just going to worry about me. I'm only going to care about me. But the reality is, in the waiting season, we still have to care about people. Because here's the thing, the promise that God has for you and the promise that God has for me to walk in, it has to deal with people. The promise isn't just for us. The promise is for others. For Joseph, his promise wasn't just to be in this position of power and authority. The promise on Joseph's life was to save people, to save his family, where they would grow into a nation where Jesus would come from. He saved Egypt. He saved millions of people's lives. The promise that Joseph as a teenager probably thought was just for him was actually for people. The promise on your life and my life is for people. So when we walk in the promise, if we're going to care about people, we have to be good about caring about people in the waiting season. In the waiting season, we have to look around and say, who can I serve? Who can I love? Who can I show the love of Jesus to, knowing that God will take care of my promise? That's why I love this church so much. We have so many opportunities for you to serve and care for others. All of our outreaches, all of our Sunday go teams. You can be a part of so many opportunities to care for others. But don't let the discouragement of your waiting season keep you from caring for others. In fact, I believe that when in your waiting season you begin to care for other people, that's actually going to open the door for you to walk in your promise. But if you don't care for those people, if you make it all about yourself, you're going to have a real hard time finding that door you're supposed to walk through. So what are we to do? Let's serve people. Let's love people. Let's show people the love of Jesus, even in the waiting season, because that's what it's all about. Well, I hope you've had a great time listening. I hope this has encouraged you. Continue to tune in as we wrap up this series on the promises of God, and I hope you have a great day.